Episode 52 of Creepypastas. Today's episode, NES Godzilla Chapter 2, written by Cosbydaf. Pathos was the same as Jupiter, or in layout, except the board was dark blue rather than green. The first thing I noticed was that all the usual level icons had been replaced by a blue rock in some kind of orange honeycomb shape. There was one icon that had part of the jungle icon shape, but I didn't pay much thought to it. I checked the other side of the board to see the new monster. Instead of Hedorah, it was Biolante. But that couldn't have been right. Godzilla vs. Biolante didn't come out until 1989. And this game was made in 1988. Perhaps Toho put Biolante in the game to build excitement up for the movie next year, but changed their minds? I tried to rationalize the game's abnormalities any way I could, but this would prove to be futile. Pathos' map was the first new song I heard in the game. Like most of the new songs, it was hard to describe. I'll try. It started out slow and suspenseful, much slower than any song in the game. But every 12 seconds or so, there would be a loud clashing sound, and the tempo changed. It was like the composer randomly played parts of from 5 different songs with the same instruments. I moved Godzilla over to one of the main blue rock icons that had replaced the jungle icons, and started the level. The level resembled a blue mountain range with a blood-red planet in the sky. But there was something odd about mountains. They had a shredded paper look to them. I thought at first maybe the glitch had affected it, but it looked far more intentional. I quickly noticed something else about this new level. There were no enemies at all. Not even any obstacles. I should also mention that this was where the point near started to become unglitched beyond comprehension. But it didn't bother me much. I never keep up with game points. So without having to focus on anything, I listened to the music while walking through a level unopposed. The music had a sorrowful feel to it. It would have been rather pleasant had I heard it in a normal game. The level went on for 3 screens, but with no obstacles. And I finished it quickly. I tried other levels of the same time to see if any enemies appeared, but there were none. There was little else to be seen in the Blue Mountains, so I tried the other level type. I started one of the orange levels, and my eyes were assaulted with a grotesque background of Timorosaurus eyes. The sky was the same as the ground. So I assumed that the game was indicating that this level takes place in a cave. The only enemies there were Montongos gone. But as you can see, the little bastards were everywhere. The music certainly didn't help, with a mixture of screeching sounds and loud drum beats that sounds like a monster theme in a horror film. After completing it, I tried to avoid playing through any more of these levels whenever I could. The map was short, so it was only a few minutes before I was headed towards the rematch with Godzilla and Mothra. But this time, their sprites and attack patterns were vastly different. I fought Mothra first. Mothra's replacement was a flying machine with a slight resemblance to the Pascagoula alien. It was a bit like fighting Mothra, only it moved with a bit more grace. It attacked by spinning its front tentacle like a corkscrew, and it still had an eye beam, except now it fired from the drill. This lanky apparition had replaced Godzilla, and the new beast was more of a challenge. It would run and jump at a fast pace, constantly swinging its arms around, making it hard to get close. And of course it tried to pin me in the corner with as much noise and results as ever. I defeated it using a combination of tail whips and heat beat spamming. I defeated them and was going to fight the Titanosaurus, but when I started to fight, Titanosaurus was nowhere to be seen. It happened, and the game simply went back to the map, with the Titanosaurus piece now missing. There was no one left to fight now but Biollante, so I eagerly started the battle. I was quite surprised that Biollante started to fight in her rose swarm. She was immobile and used tentacles to keep me away from the main body, which took the most damage. As expected, she turned into her final form after taking enough damage. The sprite looked pretty damn good for 8-bit. The battle technique was the same, except now Biollante could move, albeit slower than any other monster. Being hit by the tentacles did more damage now, and Biollante could do an acid spit, which I managed to avoid by jumping in the screen cap. Not much more difficult than beat the Titanosaurus. It only took 2 rounds. But when Biollante was gone, the music had stopped. And there was a new icon replacing the base. This icon wasn't there before I beat Biollante. It resembled a red tribal mask, and I had a feeling of dread when I saw it. But since it placed the base, it must be the only way to exit it, Pathos. I moved Godzilla to the square and started the level. It was a hellish looking place with no sky and a flickering fire in the background. The fire looked far more advanced than anything I've seen on the NES. There was music in the form of a slow, steady drum sound resembling a heartbeat. All the text at the top of the screen and the life bar were gone, and their place was a single bit of text in the middle of the screen that said, "Run." My feeling of dread intensified. I cautiously walked through the level, but like the Blue Mountains, there were no enemies. I paced around for a minute before thinking, run? Run from what? The first time it hit me, I didn't even see it. I heard a noise outside my room and turned back to see if anything failed. And when I looked back, Godzilla was dying. I figured it must have just been a glitch. But I wasn't going to play through the game without Godzilla, so I restarted the game and went to the password screen. Have I ever mentioned how creepy the Pathos screen was? If you've played the game, you know what I mean. It doesn't at all fit the mood of the game. It's more like something from a horror game. Maybe they made it like that so kids wouldn't cheat. I was quite annoyed at this point, because I thought I was going to have to fight all of the monsters again. But that didn't happen. The game started me off right where it was before I started the red face level, so I tried again, making sure to pay attention this time. That's when I heard a low belling sound. And then I saw it. This thing. Do you know that feeling your body has when you feel like you're in extreme danger? You start to recoil and tense up as the adrenaline flows through your veins, and your nerves start to get very cold. That's the feeling I had when I took the screen cap. I haven't seen all of the Godzilla movies, but I'm pretty damn sure this was never in any of them. It had to be something the creators made up. But what kind of sick fuck would put this in a children's game? By sheer dumb luck, or perhaps the adrenaline boost, I managed to run fast enough to get away from it. It ran very fast, so much so that if you saw it, you were almost certainly going to die. And when I say die, I mean your monster gets killed instantly if a creature touches them. Once I had gone back to the map, I was so afraid I was extremely tempted to just shut the game off and try to pretend this never happened. I can't believe what I just seen. It couldn't be real. And even if I wanted to continue, I still had to get monster through this chase level. But as I stayed inactive on the map screen for a few minutes, my fear was replaced by burning curiosity. What the hell just happened? What was the rest of the game like? I only had to beat this level with Mothra, and then it was just in the next world. But when I moved Mothra to the red face, the game registered it as me being the level, and I was quite relieved. I tried to prepare myself toward the next world. Trance. Oh, and by the way, since we're here, I would like to apologize for the amount of delay in this episode. At first, I kind of forgot the pictures, but when I when I went to go do that, I fucked up the footage. And the audio, too. Because by the time I fucking did that one, it was primarily silent, with only the pictures. I am an idiot. As he can already tell. Ugh. Anyways. I can't stop laughing at my ass, Harry. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Oh god. Anyways, I made a dumbass mistake for doing that. Anyways, I know it has been read to death, but to give my honest opinion about Chapter 2 and Chapter 1, Chapter 1's a pretty good start to what's about to happen. And link up to that point after link into Pathos. And potentially the other altered worlds of after that. Of course, the pictures as provided as well all seem pretty standard and pretty good, since Cosby is a pretty damn good sprite artist. That's where all I can give a shit about. And being honest, when I had an idea to read all this, as chapter by chapter, I was kind of hoping to release them in an orderly fashion, and release them at least a day apart, a day or two apart, maybe a week or two apart, and maybe you fucking upload the last chapter and the epilogue by the end of Halloween, but I guess we are past that. So, I might have to do this as continuing forward, I guess. Fucking me being a dumbass with video editing. How ironic.